Welcome to Math 148, Business Calculus, Calculus for Business and Social Science majors. My name's David Nelson. I'll be your instructor this quarter. And I wanted to start off with just a quick tour of our website. If you type in wamap.org, it should take you to this as the basic landing page. If you've used WAMAP before, you should be able to log in here. Otherwise, you want to hit register as a new student. And it will take you through setting up a username that you get to choose, set your password, and all that kind of good stuff there. All right, I've already got an account, so I am going to log in here with my username and password. And once you've logged in, you should see a page like this that lists the courses that you're taking. Yours will probably have the courses that you're taking more than the courses that you're teaching at the top. If you've used WAMAP before and you need to register for My Course, you want to hit the Add a New Course button, and it will ask you for, that's create a new course for a teacher. You want to enroll in a new course, enroll in a new class down here, and you'll need the course ID and enrollment key, and I should have sent those to you in your welcoming email. So check your Green River email and see if you can find those. All right. But once you're there, you should be able to click on the class, and let me go into student view here real quick. And it should give you the basics for the class in there. Starts with a group of assignments there. There's a link here to this video that you'll be watching, just in case you need to do it. I've added a folder here, help and support for students. These are non-math related. They're more advising sorts of things that we get emails from time to time from various groups on campus and support sort of things. So there is a list of those available here. As I get those, I post them in here, and I try to update it every now and then. So it's been a while since it's been updated, but it should might have a more recent date than when you look at this here. But it's, if you're having financial aid issues, or if you want to know about transferring or something like that, it's services that they have available to students, scholarships, emergency funding, sorts of things, links to our tutoring centers, things like that. So it's sort of campus-wide non-mathematical help for students as well. And then down here under the tutoring, textbook, and calculator folder has information about the Math Learning Center has a virtual tutoring. You need a calculator and information about our textbook there. And I think it currently looks like this. In there, that's the current textbook cover that we're looking at, Mathematical Applications for the Life Sciences, 12th edition by Harshberger and Reynolds. All right, so textbook stuff is there if you need it, and the tutoring at the very top to find a tutor if you need help with our free Math Learning Center tutoring as well. Okay, so your grade in this course depends on weekly homework assignments, midterms, final exams, 2 projects, and online participation. We have a couple of projects that are going to come up. The first one will show up here towards the end of the first week. Here, I need to adjust those exam stuff here if that's left over from a previous quarter. The projects are coming up here. We have a client that I've interviewed. I still need to adjust the dates in here, so pay attention to that. They'll be adjusted hopefully for your class here when it comes together. And you're basically, what I get contacted from people in the community that have a math question, and if it seems like it's something that my students can answer, I refer it to my students. And so they will be, I've interviewed them, and I'll post a link to that interview. And then you need to respond to them. You need to write a letter to the client with a solution, and then separately for our company files, a separate page with your Scratch work on how you came up with that solution. I'm not necessarily don't want the math in the letter. I want the math separate in this in the Scratch work. Just put the answer in the letter primarily. All right. So we'll have a couple of clients that are interviewing with us here. So you want to check that out. We have various units that we're going to cover. There are lesson sequences. Lesson sequences typically have a video lecture and are so you watch the lecture, it'll give you some information. Based on that information, you're going to answer the questions in here. All of these questions have something like 100 attempts to them before it will mark it wrong. So you can basically try these as many times as you want until you get it right, sorts of things. So, but you're going to have to watch the video and then try your answers here. Whatever they're looking for here. You got to watch the video first to get the formula and then figure out how to do the question. I think that one's 2. That's not 2. How about 5/2? I want a decimal. How about 2.5? So it gives you little clues that as you enter it in there, it'll get you that same thing. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. There we are. There we got the right answer. And it'll give you a green check mark when you get it right. And when it's wrong, it gives you an X in there. And you can, again, do that as many times as you want until you get the right answer or the time limit comes up. All right. Yeah, so that's that. So you have lesson sequences. Lesson sequences are the videos, and then you've got homework for the unit, which is more of those same problems. It covers the like there's 19 questions here, but it's more of the meat of the question. There's no instruction, or not as much instruction here. Watch the videos that'll tell you how to solve these things. So the lesson sequences are the lecture portion of this, and then the homework are the homework problems in there. All right, and then other things that you have within each week are there's like opportunity for extra credit. You should watch that video. We have a discussion forum. The discussion forums typically have 2 parts to them. They have a group study area where if you're stuck on a question, you can ask for help in here, like I'm having problems with number 3, and then myself or your fellow students are welcome to respond to that. And then there's also a weekly discussion topic, or it's not exactly weekly here in the summer, but roughly weekly discussion topics where there's a question, something to post on this. So this is just provide a little bit of information about yourself in there. And the extra credit homework, if you watch that video, it'll tell you how to get a little extra credit on that first assignment in there. All right. And then we're going to have, so we've got the projects, we've got the discussion posts, we've got the lesson sequences and the homework assignments. If you look on the calendar, she'll show you sort of when everything is due. We have a midterm coming up here on the 28th of July, and then August 19th is our final exam. The one thing that doesn't show up here is when the projects are due. They will appear about a week before they're due. So they will show up on the calendar about a week before they're due. It'll say project available and it will say project due. We'll show up those 2 due dates in there. All right. So it's going to be a busy quarter. We've got something due almost every single day. So you want to get started. If something comes up, you do have on these things, it's not showing it to me, but you do have a late pass available to use on the lesson sequences. Late pass allowed, it says it there. And what you can do is you can extend the due date. Does it give me the option? It's not giving me the option in here, but you can extend the due date by 24 hours in there. So if you're not quite through something, you can give yourself another day to work on it. You have, I think, 50 late passes. Each late pass extends the deadline by 24 hours. So you can shift around the dates a little bit based on your personal schedule. You can always work ahead. Everything should be available right now at the start of the quarter, other than the projects. And so you can jump ahead and start work on, chapter 2 stuff, or chapter 2, section 2A, the quotient rule and product rule. If you want to, you can jump ahead and start working on stuff early. So if you've got a little vacation planned or something like that, you can adjust those as well. But each day you shift it uses one late pass. So if it's the end of the quarter and I want to go back and do like the very first lesson sequence, I now have to use 10 or 20 late passes to move that assignment down to the point where I can work on it again. So it's much better if you try to do them right about the right time that they're assigned. So try to follow that schedule as best you can in there. You can shift it a day or two if you need to, but watch out for that. All right. So that's the basics of it. I've got to redo these exam things because we only have a midterm and a final here in summer quarter. So I got to make a few adjustments here in the course, but it should look nice when you look at it. They are manually graded. A few things, the projects, the midterms, and the final are manually graded. And so when those happen, you'll probably see a 0 in the gradebook after the due date, which means that I probably haven't gotten to grading yours yet in there. And I can sometimes be kind of slow on getting things graded. So bear with me, if you will, on that. But as I grade them, you'll see your score appear in the gradebook, and you'll get feedback. You can click on the gradebook at any time, and it will show you what your summary of your current grades are. It's not going to work for me because I'm not a student. It's going to give me some sort of error here when I click on it. Yep, it gives me an error. But you should be able to see what your score is on your assignments as we go through it. It'll look kind of weird until we get to a deadline or two in there. But there's typically sort of two categories that you see. You've got a past due section, and you've got a past due and available. Keep a look on that past due. That's everything that the deadline is passed on. So it's kind of a better grade estimate of what your grade is. The past due and available gives you a 0 on everything you haven't done yet. So early in the quarter, it's going to look pretty bad because you haven't done the unit 10's homework yet, and so it's going to count that as a 0. But look at the past due column. That's generally give you a pretty good idea of what your current grade is in there. If you have any questions, you can shoot me a message. You can go to the forums. There's a link. You can jump right to the discussion forum if you want to. So you can jump into the things and ask questions there. You can also, if you want to do something a little more private, you can also send me a message directly. No messages yet, but you can also message me directly if you want to have a little bit more private discussion. I will be into the class every day. I check forum posts and messages here in WAMAP nearly every day. Every day. But it's not always once within 24 hours. Sometimes it might be, 44 hours if I check, early in the morning one day, and it's not till late at night the following day before I go in and check in there. But ask your questions here because that's a good place to contact me, is through there. I do have Zoom. If you want to set up a meeting, send me a message and we can kind of do some face-to-face talking if you want to. I'm absolutely available for that as well. We can work out a time of when that will happen. Okay, Exams will be here in WAMAP. They're going to show up somewhere here in this announcement area on the day of the exam in there. So they should be there. All right. Again, if you have any questions, shoot me a message or post a question in one of the forums. I'd be happy to answer them.